Overrated.
Hey, what's up? This is Jeff and the Foxy Lady with Final Boss Editing. So, getting back to our roots here and going through Scriptshadow's awesome selections and stuff. So, we'll be reading through. There's 5 scripts on, usually the Amateur Friday, or go for it if you usually on the Amateur Friday, there's 5 scripts. And we'll pick 2 from the log lines that we'll read, and then from there we'll choose 1 and we'll read the first 10 pages of 2, and then we'll choose 1 as the winner that we vote for. So onward and upward. All right, scrimmage.
Showdown at the hoedown.
Showdown at the hoedown. All right. Oh, some guy wrote the PTSD one. Okay, Evolution's Eye. When a sick little girl becomes a final component. Hey, what's up, Moocher? How's it going? Good to see ya. Hope you're doing well. When a sick little girl becomes a final component in a mad scientist's plan to become a god, her parents must race against the clock to save her before the world and all humanity is destroyed.
I like it.
Like that one? Okay. A prostitute inducted by a spy.
Why are you laughing?
You're making like this like hand signals.
It's me.
It's okay. We don't ask about your past. Wait, you want the Coke Zero? Okay. A prostitute inducted into a spy organization must stop an impending terrorist attack while struggling to hold her family together. I was born in a village in a third world country. Oh, that's kind of cool. I've forgotten the feeling. Oh, maybe it's like, this may actually be more interesting than I thought. Yeah, well, we'll also be on tomorrow for our Dresden Files RPG, so get excited. Oh, he said I've been waiting. I have like laser vision.
Oh, nice. Yay.
Well, we're glad you can hang.
Discussion over. The other one, some of the other ones, well, the other one
looks good.
Okay, yeah.
A mercenary is investigating a vast global conspiracy. When he discovers 4 rogue preachers he must stop within 24 hours, who intend to release a secret that will alter mankind forever.
That sounds fun.
Let's read his little why you should read. It's been a long time since the amateur speak.
Start like the disciple
that will excite everyone again, since the partisan elements within have become actual reality.
Story that's fast-paced. Well, not skipping out on character. It has the rarest of all things. It has emotion.
It has emotion. I'm willing to check it out. But we can do that one as our second. Or we'll see what the other one's first. Detective who suffers from PTSD relocates to a small town where she soon gets roped into an investigation involving a string of kidnappings, in which the victims return 7 days later, only to go on a murderous rampage. Oh, that's kind of cool.
Are they in a fugue state?
Are they in a fugue state? Yeah. Should involve fighting your way out of a twisted monastery. That would be actually tight. Which one was that?
I don't know.
That's this one? That would be sick. Actually, that, just Moocher's suggestion, I would almost read that just to see if they actually do it. Because that sounds badass. I just want to see a bunch of Shaolin monks just go bananas and like start tearing stuff up. Not a prayer. Biopic. Non-believer saw as a heroic warrior crusading to enforce the separation of church and state. But to the believers she delighted in tormenting, she was a devil incarnate. This is the true story of the irreverent, at all times poignant, and always controversial Madeline Mary O'Hare.
No idea who that is.
No interest for me.
No,
sorry.
It's
not good.
We don't do biopics.
I don't, yeah.
There's no aliens or time travel or parallel worlds.
Cool. Yeah. So we should start with, what should we want to start with? I get the sense this one's going to be the best, so I kind of want to save that for last. Do you want to start with Earth 2.0?
Yeah.
We'll see if I'm right. So my prediction is the first one, Evolution's Eye, is going to be the strongest. But we'll see if my prediction's actually right.
This says he's been working on that one for years.
Oh, the Earth one?
Evolution's Eve.
Oh.
The product of years of work. It's been edited and re-edited time and time again. Used to exist as 2-segment screenplays.
Yeah, so we'll save the best one for last year, I think.
We'll see if we're right. Oh.
Oh, so this is actually, we haven't done a writing prompt in a while. This is actually these screenplays that we sometimes will edit for people. And I'll actually show you. So these are already written screenplays that people post up on Scriptshadow, and we help give them notes. Well, I should actually post up that we're doing a live edit right now.
Yeah.
That's actually a good idea. So, but we should do another writing prompt. What do you think? What do you think we should do for a writing prompt? I'm in like elbows deep in editing my novels, so I'm probably I may be a little bit slower than most. Live edit of the scripts. And then let me just get my boop. Yay. Awesome. But I'm down to do a writing prompt one of these days. That'd be fun. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this puppy in the background here, and we will start on the first script, which is always exciting. Earth 2.0.
Did you ever see that show?
I should do that transition again. You ready? Earth 2.0.
Did you ever see that show that was on in the 90s called Earth 2?
No. Was it good? Maybe this is going to be like that.
I remember really, it was just like the 90s. I was pretty young, but I liked it. There was this like weird monkey creature. I don't know. You know when you like watch these shows when you're really young and then all you have is this like weird memory of things from them? I need to look it up.
Yeah, so I mean for me, we'll have to find a good list of prompts. I'm excited. Yeah, I have that in my inbox. So we can actually read it probably after these scripts.
Which one?
Moocher actually submitted a new short story.
Oh, cool.
There's actually another one too that I've been meaning to read that someone sent over.
So good.
My eyes, yeah, I have laser
I
vision.
have contacts in, and
I have like 2015. Yeah,
okay,
there you go.
Okay, focus on it. We'll have to find a good, and I'm trying to do it. We'll have to find a good list of prompts. I still can't wait for you to read my left.
Be sure to download the link from the one posted, not the one at the top of the page. If you want to read any of Evolution, download the link from the one posted, not at the top of the page. Ooh, well, I am reading Evolution's I, so Eve, sorry. So I'm clicking on this one. Is this the right one? And since if it sounds like you're the writer, I have to tab back out. That's right. Well, if you're the writer, I'll read this first because obviously want to do you. If you're live, you should check it out. It's this one, right? The one here, I think. I think that's it. I don't see the one at the top of the page. Maybe there's like something down below. Yeah. But yeah, I think I have the right one. 70% sure.
If not, let us know.
Yeah, if not, feel free to be like, "Stop, you monster!
Yeah.
You're sick! Disgusting!"
Yeah, should we do that one first then?
Yeah, let's do that one first. And so I'm going to bump over to here. And then I will... Ooh, same thing! I can just leave this note right here! Eve, oops. So I would say, and I'm just intense like this, but I'm not just because when I used to be a reader, whenever I saw some weird font, I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but it was more likely whenever I saw weird font and some funny stuff on the cover page, I would see some issues in the story. I could be completely wrong, but it's just something that's, I don't know if it adds that much. Okay, fade in. Exterior, icy wasteland. Dark wasteland. Though if you do it before I'm back on, just send me a vid and I'll check it out. My friend loved it. I really took your advice. Nice! That's awesome.
What did you say?
He's Moocher's probably gonna go see a movie.
Linked in the link you just shared.
Oh.
Or maybe it's
in a comment. Oh, I see. Let me go look real fast. I'll download it. I'll do a speed mode here. There we go. Evolution's Eve. Bam.
Create this gem object. Oh, cool.
There we go. I'm glad. That was easy. Thank you for the notif. I will read this draft as we speak. There we go. That was easy.
Yeah.
Quick update. All right, we're back in business. Found it. I think Moocher's gonna go see a movie, but he's excited to read the draft. Yeah. Well, in any case, Moocher, we'll send you the edit when we read it, no matter what. But we'll if by the end of this you're not back around, we'll do another one. The final draft starts exterior garden temple. Bam, nice.
Oh, cool.
There. Sweet, got the right one. Okay, exterior garden temple night. A gloved hand. Usually, when you introduce characters, doing all caps is good. That's what you're supposed to do, but I've never seen it bolded before, and it may be a new convention that I'm just not aware of. I've been out of the business for a little bit, but only need to all caps, intros, and not bold. But yeah, that's just something that I'm more accustomed to. Oh, cool.
His sister likes to make the title. Oh, that's nice. That's his sister who's a pro.
Aww.
That's nice.
Well, that's okay. Then that's all right. I think that's totally fine. This is cool, by the way. Nice to see you. Well, awesome. Well, feel free to tune in again. It's always a blast just being able to discourse with writers on their awesome stories, which I'm always excited to see.
Yeah.
And hopefully help improve. A gloved hand tightens its grip around a club, lifts it into the air, and brings it crashing down onto a drum. Tribal rhythms sound out of a dozen drummers in black cloaks. They face a cloud of thousands of worshippers. Behind them stands a tall stone temple, etched into the side of a massive cliff face. A young priestess emerges from the crowds, holds up a golden chalice, and walks with quiet purpose to the temple. I think this is a really small note, but hard for me to actually visualize what quiet purpose looks like, right? I chose the bold just because it made them pop more. Maybe it's a negative since it's not standard. It's a trade-off. Like, honestly, I think it's okay. But usually using all caps is kind of a lot of pop as it is. So when you do all caps and bold, it's like, it's like yelling. It's like a little bit more yelling over text. Whereas stuff like minor characters, especially like cloaked figures, like I know these guys I'm not going to remember, or they, I'm envisioning they're not going to come back in. The other note here on page 1 is for that show, don't tell. Usually when you're mentioning stuff like quiet purpose, try to describe, and that's right on the fence, but it's a little bit like the way I visualize quiet purpose may be different than what you're visualizing, so it's better to just describe more specifically how they're walking. Like
just staring straight ahead and like ignoring everything.
Yeah, like her eyes are glazed over, or you name it.
Yeah, not distracted by anything, like focused or something like that.
Yeah. Cool. The priestess pushes past thick vines as she makes her way through a luscious garden of all sorts of plant life. She spots a glistening red light and goes towards it. She emerges from the trees into a paved walkway. This looks like a scene change.
Oh, well, I mean, interior dome chamber.
Dome chamber, but like if she's going from like the chamber to the walkway, that seems like a scene change. So I would just be sure to is the walkway. Put a slugline in if it is. She looks to the sky, where above the garden looms the domed ceiling. Okay, maybe not. I guess I'm just confused. 6 cloaked figures approach from the shadows and surround her. They pull sharp blades from their cloaks and close in. She shows no sign of fear as she holds up the chalice. Altogether, the priests slit their wrists over her. She greedily fills the chalice with their draining blood. Dun dun dun. Eden Pyramid, Dome Chamber Night. The priestess stands over a stone altar at the center of the pyramid. Red light fills the air with no visible source. She places the chalice on the altar and kneels. The ground is thick, rich soil. She digs her bloody fingers into it and lifts out a cake of dirt. It rustles with some inner life. With a great ceremony, she dumps the dirt into the chalice and steps back for a deep breath. Some inner life. Yeah.
Like a worm.
Yeah, like a worm, yeah.
Please give her songs.
Her smile, grows as the blood boils in the wind. It's red light. The shadows come. She pales. The drums fall silent as her scream echoes from the temple. The priestesses stumble out. The priestesses stumbles out. Let's just fix wording. P2.
Priestess.
Oh yeah, the priestess stumbles out. Oh, the priestess.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that just threw me off. Startled, panic. I chose a bold character somberly. Right, I agree completely with bolding interest because, yeah. You almost always, whenever you intro a character, you always want to capitalize. Like, that's the rule. Bolding is just a stylistic call. One that I probably personally wouldn't make if I was writing a screenplay, just because, you already have your scene transitions bold. There's a lot of stuff popping on the page. And when you have too much, just a lot of, a lot of stuff happening on the page, it does sometimes distract a little bit. So I would just stick with capitalization personally, but then I'm probably a bit more conservative in that regard than some other writers. I'm a structured person, so the crowds flee in terror from some unseen foe. A frightened mother hides before she's taken by the night. Blood spills at the child's feet. Fade 2. It's movie theater day. It's 1960s. All black and white science fiction movie plays for an audience, all wearing 3D glasses. I would just, you don't have to say all, probably. I won't put that in my notes, but it's implied. They gasp in fright at the film. Okay, cool. So, good intro, I think. I think it's definitely nice because it's that one-page image. You kind of know there's some mystical elements. It establishes the tone. So the things I'll be looking for is those kind of consistent tonal elements going across. So one of the things when you are establishing a really strong tone from an intro like that, usually you want to make sure that stays consistent going forward, which sometimes doesn't happen, sometimes does. It's 1960s. A black and white science fiction movie plays in an audience, all wearing 3D glasses. They gasp in fright at the film.
My question is, are they watching this intro scene is that on the...
He may reveal this.
Okay. Sometimes the first scene ends up being just them watching this movie, but it didn't mention it, so...
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not.
Oh, well, if they're not, then that seems... that's what I assume, too.
It just says a black and white science fiction movie, so I don't know if it's something completely different, or if it's that whole first scene was the movie and now it's just backing out and showing that it's just a movie.
Yeah, that would be a funny transition if not. Because that was what I assumed as well, but it may not, because then you'll want to say, okay, how do I link the past to the present in a cohesive way? So scene transitions are really important. If you ever want to see a movie that does them amazingly well, go watch The Fifth Element. That's absolutely phenomenal. For their scene transitions. Alrighty. Cool. Every person in the front row is completely taken by the film. They all laugh at the jokes and jump in surprise. Everyone except Falcon, a young boy, who doesn't seem very interested at all. When he takes off his glasses, he reveals an eye patch over his right eye. He tosses his glasses away.
You can't watch the 3D movie. That's sad.
He tucks down. It's good character detailing. He looks down to a book of ancient Samaria and flips the pages, open to a strange guyed tablet. His fingers line the caption, Emerald Tablets of Thoth. It's not the movie, KK.
Okay.
Maybe it's what he's reading in the book. Or what? Then I would think about saying, okay, you have this really poppy first scene. When you're going to jump through time and through a whole new set of characters, you would want to consider something, at least like an echo or something just scenic, like it doesn't even have to be part of the story, that does give some sort of transition flow. Your call, though. Why are you watching? It doesn't work for me. I knew it wouldn't work before you came in here. You knew it wouldn't work before you came in here, yeah, but nothing. If you weren't going to watch the movie, you shouldn't have paid for the ticket. But my book's more interesting. Just because it's more interesting doesn't mean the movie doesn't have value. You can read it at your own leisure because you own the book. But later in bed tonight, you can't watch the movie. You have to learn the value of $1, Falcon. You must have to learn patience. That's a law. Yeah, exactly. This is page 3, actually. It's a long line of dialogue. And then the question here would be, they're still in the movie and they're just like talking really loudly. And then also you'd want to probably give him, if a character usually has over like 2 or 3 lines, hey there Richie, how's it going? Oh, excuse me. I've been chugging cherry Coke. Good to see you. How's it going? Editing Majin Buu's screenplay today, actually, which is really exciting. So yeah, usually 4-line max is what you want to shoot for.
What were you saying about?
Oh yeah.
Introducing?
Oh yeah. So then, if someone has more than a few lines, you just give them a name. Like Falcon's father should be given a name early. Cool. You mean the movie doesn't have, you can read it in your book, but later in tonight, yes, father. That's kind of an odd reply from the kid who's like rebelling. I would just look, sometimes it helps to do like a dialogue from the son seems overly formal for a close relationship. And maybe I'm wrong, like maybe this is part of the character you're drawing and creating, but that's something to keep in mind, is that it seems right now overly formal and it's a little bit like jarring, but maybe if that's something you're intending, great. If it's not, that may be worth looking at. Yes, father. Falcon puts the book away. Besides, in that book you'll find nothing but the past. This movie could be our future. Aliens. Falcon puts his 3D glasses back on and looks at the screen where a rocket ship is landing on the moon. The spaceman exits the ship and admires the lunar landscape. Falcon smiles. I'm just assuming he's going to say it. So usually stuff like fade to or cut to, you can remove. And I saw this up there and I thought you were just doing it because it was that big transition. Oh, I guess it's another big transition. Oh, psych. Okay, that's fine. But still, I would almost cut it anyways. Consider removing fade to. It's okay because it's a big transition, but still not really necessary. I mean, wait until before. I mean, let the cinematographer, when you get this thing sold and produced. I mean, those guys will take care of all this. Like, they'll take care of your shots, So, I mean, it's almost like, just make sure that you're telling the story. Don't worry as much about the camera until you got somebody who's paying you to film it. Falcon, now an elderly man, wears sunglasses as he runs up the mountain trail in a silver futuristic jogging suit. He's strikingly charismatic and sports a cool demeanor. Note, character introductions appear as transparent intelligence.
Profiles with visual images and background info.
Oh.
Like on the screen?
Yeah, I think that's super. Dr. Montgomery Falcon, CEO of Falcon Industries, ranked above the Pope and Time Magazine. Most influential people. Net worth indeterminate. Threat assessment no. Dense forest surrounds the path as it cuts along the edge of a cliff face. Interesting. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out how I feel about this, because it is definitely telling, but it seems like it's okay if it's part.
It's like futuristic.
If the superscript, is part of the world. I know we're both burping up a storm. It's part of the world,
okay,
and it, go for it. Stays consistent. Then it's okay. But if it's just a shortcut, it seems lazy. show us this stuff too. And so I'm curious to hear the first scene directly in paint. Oh, okay. After brainstorm the transition flow, put the phrase in transition time. I'll delete the phrase. Yeah, I mean it's nothing bad, but it's not like going to be a script killer, but it's just like one more. Like that's the thing. It's like the law of percentages is what I think about in screenplays, where you have a few additive things that maybe are little distractions to the story behind the background info. Okay, cool, perfect. That was my caveat. So it's as long as you keep it consistent and keep using it, it's okay. But be careful. If I was like doing my reader job back in the day, I would be like interested. That would be at least a little bit of a red flag early. But if you continue it, I would look the other way. Dense forest surrounds the path as it cuts along the edge of a cliff face. Falcon admires a nearby waterfall when a beeping alarm sounds. He stops and catches his breath. Your heart rate's too high, Falcon. Oh wait, you should be the robot lady.
Your heart rate's too high, Falcon.
Yes, thank you, Olive. I guess he speaks with a British accent now that he's older.
Right.
Obviously. Everybody does. I'm really hoping for my British accent day to come. It'll come. Falcon pulls out a remote control and presses the button. The forest and all the surroundings flicker away, disappear, and transform into an unending gray. In the dark void behind him, lights begin to shine. An ornate middle temple perches across... Yeah, in Tibet. Overlooks a sea of mountains behind it. The storm windows of the temple's dome retract like an opening claw. Falcon's perch, Tibet. Dome, Falcon's perch, day. Falcon looks to the sky where the comet and its tail are visible. Even during the daytime, he removes his sunglasses.
Did you say the comet? Or would it just be a comet?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I probably don't have to... That's not like a huge structure note. That's just just heads up. And his tail are visible. Even during the daytime, he removes his sunglasses. Underneath is a white eye patch covering his right eye. Nice. Okay, good continuity. I'm going to write that in because that's good. I don't know if you've read Save the Cat, but there's a chapter in it called Eye Patch. I have it on my phone. But like you have to give these defining characteristics as well as character traits to a character. So the reader will remember the guy with the eye patch because he's the guy with the eye patch. I think it's called like a one arm and an eye patch or something. Hold on. I'm going to find it. It's like really just like right here. A limp and an eye patch. A limp and an eye patch from good old Save the Cat. So good. That's good technique.
Oh.
Interior Falcon's often perched day. Falcon steps from the elevator into a lavishly decorated... I don't think I finished my note. Good eye patch continuity. Defines character. And it's like looking for those characteristics in all of your characters you at least want the reader to remember. Falcon steps from the elevator into a lavishly decorated office, replete with red carpet and fine oak furniture. Countless archaeological artifacts from around the world are displayed behind glass cases that litter the chamber. Falcon's eyes scan as he activates a computerized desk. Olivia, a casually confident, refined, middle-aged blonde, enters with a towel and a glass of fizzy, luminescent liquid. Soup. Yeah. Well, it's luminescent, though. Olivia Whitehall, Esquire. Executive assistant to the CEO. Graduated Harvard Law, magna cum laude. Yeah, it's true. Well, if you have never read Save the Cat, I'm going to type it in here because it's one of the best. Very short books on just getting some really great insights into like writing technique. And it's, I mean, there's a lot of really good books out there that are longer, but this is like the most bang for your buck in terms of like reading. Like you can read like Chris Vogler's Journey and all that stuff, but this is a very fast and efficient one. Falcon finally grasps a towel and wipes away some sweat. He focuses his eye.
He's a clone. Hang on. Falcon's first and only clone. Interesting. Okay.
Threat assessment, medium priority. And biblical literature, where dozens of Sumerian tablets and biblical literature scatter his desktop. She lingers close to him, their bodies almost touching.
It's time. Falcon
grabs a drink and downs it in one gulp. Best get this over with. He has to keep his British accent. Continuity. Yeah. An evil British guy with an eye patch and an accent. That's just trouble. Fashion Island looms majestically against a sparkling... Falcon Island. Is there a thing called Fashion? I think there is a Fashion Island. Moves majestically against the sparkling evening backdrop of the Atlantic Ocean. Super Falcon Island, off the coast of Brazil. A tall series of mountains divide the island in half. A lot of your... So you're using the super device heavily, which is okay. But even in movies where you see it used, this is more frequent than average, right? Because you have a super for the character intros, 2 of them. You have 2 supers here coming in. So I would almost, at this point, probably caution you against this device.
Or at least less often?
Yeah, either less often or... I have it's almost like a flashback. Like, you can use flashback effectively, but it's a risk and it's really hard, and it's a device and it's an effective device, but it's one you should be like, oh crap, I have to use it. It's the only way. Like, it's kind of like a last resort device. And super and these types of things are almost similar because, one, when you're trying to sell a screenplay and you're reading it, do you charge for service?
Yes. No. Yeah.
She's got to pay her way.
No.
Ian McKellen. Who's Ian McKellen, babe?
Gandalf, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Well, perfect. I could eliminate Olivia Super. Yeah, and it's something to think about. So Richie writes, I don't. So to stream on Twitch is free. Some people have asked me not to stream their stuff, so I probably would charge for that. But for stream, probably fine. I mean, I probably would just help out anyways. Like, I just love helping people write awesome work. And, you guys are already so talented, and you're, blessing us with the ability to read, you're kind of like tearing your heart open. Yeah, so, it's just fun to hang out and do it. So, on the house for Richie Writes. I see him as Ian McKellen. Awesome. Cool.
So he's, okay.
So he is British. Device, oops. Undo. Is a bit overused. Consider.
For Olivia. Although she's a con, so we'll have to figure that out another way.
Well, I think, and the interesting thing with Olivia is your priority, right? So I have, medium priority, so that's like a cook, right? I don't know, I see she's a threat. So that does instill some conflict, which is good. But I think the scene supers, it's just tough. Yeah, I mean, that's why I try my best to avoid using devices like this, because you sometimes get caught, right?
Those.
Yeah.
Like, as long as you, panned out from where they are, you're going to know, it's his island. It's where he lives.
Yeah. And then it's also, just like you did with the eye patch, to create continuity from his childhood to his adulthood. If, I'm assuming this is that same place where that girl got sacrificed, maybe you give some very specific, very strong detail there, like a scene version of an eye patch, like a glowing mountain, and then we see that same thing here. I would really consider using a scene eye patch device, for lack of a better word.
It looks like it's here, Mount Peregrine.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, but then is
maybe
there
a
scene?
Slash eye patch.
Shows me that this is the same. Yeah, oops, the comments are disappearing. Well, thanks, man. Well, you can always send your stuff in. Editing@gmail.com. Feel free to send over anything you'd ever like edited. As she takes a picture of her cat snuggling by the fire. That's pretty adorable. Hence, most writers also happen to be, and awesome writing and editors like her also happen to be cat ladies.
She looks so cozy.
Aw, that's pretty adorable. Okay. I don't want to leave these poor guys hanging here. A tall series of mountains divides the island in half. To the south are deep, luscious jungles and sandy beaches. To the north, surrounded by tall cliffs, are groups of Falcon Industries manufacturing plants on plateaus and mountains.
See, that would tell you right there that it's Falcon owned, right?
Yeah, like where they all have his brand on it.
Falcon on the side or something.
Yeah, I agree. The entrance to the underground mining facility. Purchase. Built around the device. Yep. An entrance to the underground mining facility purchased against a cliff. Two enormous drills sit between the dome of a large underground chamber. They're supported by an infrastructure of catwalks. Okay. Dozens of workers monitor a labyrinth of consoles. So, okay, one thing to be aware of is you're relying really heavily on your hook to keep your reader going, right? And then we've transitioned, so it's gone into the past, right? So we had a page about that was pretty enthralling about this girl sacrificing herself for this thing, and then we have the father and son in a theater, and then we have his older version, but we don't really have too much of a conflict or a problem we need to get solved. So not seeing character problem or world conflict yet, which is a bit concerning. And you usually,
I think find is like
I agree.
Probably it, but yeah.
I agree. But then the question would be like, oh, do I need to spend a page establishing him and his dad? Like maybe so, and that could be very, very much the case. But my intuition is saying it probably, because I'm doing this for my own novel. I'm cutting out all my backstory, flashbacks, other character jumps. Like I've been, you can ask. I'm cutting the first 3 chapters, pretty much, and then the first half is going to get trimmed enormously. So those are the types of things that early in your narrative, you want to find ways to get to the conflict, and even if it's not an active conflict, show how your character's flaw is damaging his life and the lives of others, and then through that, your reader will want to keep reading because seeing someone with the flaw that's destroying the world around them, you naturally, there's human sympathy will drive the reader to keep going to see why and if it gets fixed. Dozens of workers monitor the labyrinth of consoles and stations that maintain drills. Foreman at the desk alongside sits Dr. Nero, an elderly South African man in a white lab coat and a tan corduroy suit, fiercely passionate even at his old age. Oops. Yeah, she's busy pouring cashews over the floor. You can get them.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Dr. Nero, archaeologist. Threat assessment, null. Scored perfect on the SAT at age 8. A wood cane hangs. I spent a lot of space describing Fallout. The second half of the script goes. Okay. It's okay. The second half of the script goes describe places as locations.
Okay to describe it.
I think so, yeah.
Super, I think.
Yeah. And it's also and this is so for me in my novel, for example, I have a setup scene and then I pay it off at the end, and then I have them in this pawn shop, and then at the end he goes back to a pawn shop, and those types of parallels, I'm finding that focusing on the conflict and the character actually has driven a lot more bang for my buck, as far as making the story really punch than having these parallel moments. So that's something that, hey, if you want to keep it, great, but I would almost prioritize the story and what's happening in the current scene more than hey, how do we put this together? Cool. Perfect. Then I'll keep reading and I'll shut up and keep reading. The wooden cane hangs from the hook nearby as he studiously turns the page of his book, The Origin of Species. Bill, a nerdy American scientist, clears his throat. Dr. Nero, the preliminary data is not good. Dr. Nero slaps the book shut and snatches some paperwork from Bill's hands. He rifles through the pages in a huff. Dr. Nero.
Jesus Christ, that long?
We're digging blind, sir. Statistically, if we're unlucky, it could take even longer. Do you think he'll extend our funding? Beep beep, a computer console blinks and chirps.
This man's timing beggars belief.
Dr. Nero activates the monitor and Falcon appears. Have you made any further progress?
Straight in my seat.
That's you.
Oh, yes. The rock in this strata is almost identical to his sample. We've proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is the right location. We only need 4 to 6 months.
I'm afraid that's impossible.
It's inescapable. We need more time.
I've wasted enough time and resources as it is. Falcon Industries never intended for 90% of your grant to be spent digging into a mountain. You should you stood before the board and assured us that wouldn't be the case. I would just shorten dialogue line here. This is page 6. And you can just see when you read it out loud, it kind of feels a little bit like chunkier. So usually under 4 lines is about what you're going for, unless it's like a speech or something, which is okay. But yeah, I would really, really admonish that from everything that I've learned. Oh, that's awesome. That is pretty cool. Gotta cut those trees so I can actually really see it. But that's where the research took us.
Not the Mesopotamian basin, but here, off the coast of a continent, far removed from the orthodox telling of history.
Earth passes near the comet's dust cloud. Meteoroids caught by Earth's gravity hurtle towards the planet.
This shouldn't be seen by the board as a failure, some risk-reward analysis of cost-benefits, but as a chance to rewrite the foundations of our society itself.
Falcon energy satellites drift into their path.
If you want this dig to succeed, you'll have to cough up the cash.
Spare me the melodramatics. Might I offer... I'm confused about the comet dust. Maybe they're trying to align it with some, like... Well, probably what it is some, like, ritual. I bet you it's some ritual that...
I think it's on a screen.
Well, I mean, I bet you it's some ritual that syncs with, like, the comet.
Oh.
But that's a bit jarring. I guess that the comet is involved in the magics, but a little jarring on the read to jump from a conversation.
But it also sounds like it's on the screen. I'm just wondering why.
Oh, was it on the screen?
Well, I mean, I'm just jumping ahead. It says the view screen.
Oh, then I would start with like the view screen. Anyways.
I don't know why they're looking at that.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's like not the right, you cough up a longer.
You got it for me.
Yeah, she's.
Disgusting. Clap my hand.
Oh, just Falcon and Ears and the pontificator's characters got you. I delete their resources. Yeah. Yeah, he's talking about trimming dialogue. Yeah, I mean, if it's part of a character, good, but it's still tricky because I don't know.
Yeah.
It just says risk. Yeah. Commercial. The comment picks up on the next 3 pages. I want this.
Does it have to do with this dialogue right now? I think that's where we're confused.
Yeah, because it seems to kind of jump randomly into the dialogue. If you want this dig to succeed, you'd have a cough up the cash. Spare the melodramatics. Might offer you a few words of advice. Of course, dig faster. The screen cuts to a Falcon Industries logo. Goddamned money man. That's you.
Strike? Oh. Goddamned money man.
That says a meteor strike. Ah.
Are they watching the meteor strike?
But then why is it on a...
Yeah, they're watching it on the screen, or is it like happening?
Maybe it hits their satellite. And so like there's like the satellite and...
It's a failure.
Falcon's decision seems somewhat startled. I'm sorry, but the feed cut out. Shall I reroute you? That won't be necessary. Falcon rises and walks past Olivia to the glass case.
Why do you want him to think we won't keep paying for his project?
Falcon opens the clear door and runs his fingers longingly across the surface of an ancient piece of red clay. Nero must never know the depths of my obsession. His fear of losing his funding is my only leverage over him. If his fear were gone...
Then what?
He would remain unchecked. Earth, space, night. Meteors descend into the Earth's atmosphere.
Sits computer desk.
Oh, is there a spelling? I don't know. I didn't notice it. Maybe it's up here. Oh yeah, sits at his computer desk. Yeah. Yeah, I just blasting past it.
Yeah.
I figure for a first Twitch, it's more fun to do development edits where you talk more about story structure. Yeah. So I probably won't give too many line edits unless you want. I'm happy to go into that as well. Meteors descend into the Earth's atmosphere. Also, this is one of those things where it's like, we kind of are like, all right, let's get to the meat here, get to the story, and I think you're doing that, but
that is pretty long, so.
Yeah, I mean, we're at page. I mean, and usually I will if I was doing this professionally, even now, I'll probably stop the read at like page 10. depending on, if it's good. And then once you hit the page 10, if you're not turning to page 11 by your own will, then we'll usually switch to the next one. But one thing to be aware of is that the way you get someone to get to page 11 quick is establish early conflict, establish early stakes, make the hero make some tough choices, and right now, even if you don't have to introduce your main plot line, setting it up is usually more than kind of just introducing characters. It's introducing problems and conflicts.
Although it does sound like the meteors might be conflict. Like maybe that's going to cause something.
Yeah, there's this one article that's just like man against man is the conflict people relate to most. Like, there's man versus nature, man versus blah, 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 but like two people who have like wills against each other, or like someone mistreating another person is usually the most relatable, or at least is the one that kind of rivets people quickly. Jacob, a dashing Israeli man in camouflage pants and a white lab coat, leans to the railing while chewing on a toothpick. Profound sadness works within his caramel eyes. Jacob Harrell, Dr. Nero's TA. Extremely loyal, present at creation. High prayer.
Creation of the universe?
I don't know. Clarify. Page 8.
Maybe the company.
Clarify.
Probably the company and not the universe.
Jacob has been super. Stuff. Also something. I don't know. I still personally would steer away from super. This was my script, and I was supposed to rewrite this. The things that I would do is I would cut away a lot of these extra elements. I would try to get to the core of the story really fast, and I would probably be skipping a lot of that backstory in the beginning, cool though it is. But that's just from what I've read so far, so I don't want to jump on top of it yet.
Yeah, I agree.
Meteors crash into the water, sending out huge waves. The impacts land on the island. Jacob turns and casually presses the button. He spots the meteor storm laying waste to the jungle. Falling fiery rocks slam into the mountain range, causing landslides. Jacob's toothpick falls from his mouth and the door is shut. Jacob descends the lift when the lights cut out. The rumbling of echoes explode in the darkness. Explosion breaks the cable, sends the elevator careening to control. Brakes kick in and slow descent. Wham! Elevator slams to the ground. Jacob moans as he gets to his feet. What the hell was that? He activates the light mounted on his mining helmet and presses the elevator doors open. Primary chamber, mining facility, night. Fire and smoke fills the subterraneous chamber. Machinery lies. Should be lies. That's just a line edit there. The parts of the cavern walls have collapsed. Bodies litter the floor, and surviving workers are in a state of shock. Jacob stumbles around in disbelief. He spots Nero lying unconscious amid a pile of papers. Can you hear me? My head, is the drill safe? I don't know. So what I think is happening, and this is something that I am guilty of in my own writing, is I think you want to make sure you're delivering the promise of your logline. Like, your logline was like, there's going to be this conflict of his mother trying to save her daughter, right?
Who
we haven't even seen from this crazy scientist. And I think you are so focused on, which is good, and it's the natural inclination of a sci-fi writer, so don't feel bad or anything, because I do this just as much. But I think you're so focused on making the science of it work, and how the scientist is going to become a god, and like all these like elements of like how it's actually going to happen, that you may be getting to the story too late. And I don't doubt that the story's there, but you have a few issues. It's a really long screenplay, 135 pages, will really struggle to get read. So one, that tells me you have a lot of stuff you can trim. But two, you're spending so much time on a setup where at page 10 is usually where, as a reader, sometimes I would stop reading. And that's like one of the scary things, right, is that, by forcing yourself to compress this to 110 pages, you'll probably cut a lot of stuff in your screenplay that's important to you. And I'm doing this the same for my novel. My novel's way too long. Way too long. But I just have to pretty much just like all the things that I think I need to set up, all like all the science of how my sci-fi world works. Focus on the story. And that's what I'm doing.
That's where, like, your logline, the reason you read it is for that story. Like, the little girl and her family. I guess, yeah, we haven't had it. I don't even know who the little girl is yet.
Yeah, and it may come, maybe it's like Olivia's kid, but, like, I mean, it probably will in 135 pages, but, you know, you're going to be really fighting to get this epic read at 135 pages, for one, and then for two, you know, if the first 10 pages don't really have that hook element, and they kind of do with, like, the setup, but...
yeah, it's, like, interesting, but it's just, like, each scene is, like, still set up, it's more setup, it's more setup, it's more setup, it's more setup, and at a certain point you're like... Do we need all of this setup? And I struggle with it too. He struggles with it too.
Yeah, it's a universal issue of someone, especially his world building, right? Yeah. But that's something that when you're doing sci-fi, you're trying to get through the exposition. You don't want to get too into it, though it's the fun part because you're thinking of this world. But something to be aware of. My life's work. Nero allows Jacob to lead him away when he spots an eerie red glow shimmering through the clouds of smoke and dust. His eyes go wide. He tugs Jason's sleeves. Doctor, what is that? When Jacob sees it too, he stands aghast. Jacob and Nero emerge from a crack in the cavern wall. I would never have imagined we were so close all this time. So close. So this seems very fortuitous. Very, very lucky meteor strike. Page 10. Seems like a very lucky strike to create this, to open the secret. Usually you want chance to work in your hero's disfavor, and they resolve
the bad guy then?
through work. He is, but there's nobody else that I'm relating to as a reader, so... Yeah, the script runs 3 pages slow, and the transition to the next major sequence is on 13 instead of 10. Mm-hmm. Well, on the kid, Paul, and the cuter person on page 17. He used to be on page 7.
Because technically, isn't every, like, page like a minute?
Yeah, a page is a minute.
20 minutes into the movie, almost.
So, yeah, I mean, you're introducing your protagonist 20 minutes into the movie. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's your call, and each story you kind of have to make these choices as a writer, right? In my own decision-making process, when I'm approaching my stories and the stories of others, is I focus really heavily on plot and really heavily on character. That's what people care about. So if I'm not exposing character, and if I'm bringing in world building and scene at the expense or pushing character back, I would almost always cut whatever world building I'm doing and focus exactly on the character and the plot. That's my prerogative as a writer, and I believe when I've seen that done, I believe it pays off to the draft's benefit more often than it doesn't. I mean, you're still taking a risk. Maybe you create this world in such an enthralling way that, you know, you're engaged. But think about the Avatar. That was a big world-building movie with a lot of technology. What's the first thing that he introduces us to? A guy's brother dies. That's character. That's somebody we can relate to. That's making him sympathetic and being like, oh my god, like I can't even fathom what that would be like. So seeing how the professionals handle this problem, you almost always see them prioritize character and story first.
I think it ties into the world building because you're not going to care as much about the world if it's just a world by itself. Like, yeah, it can be really interesting and like complex and well built, but if it's kind of like empty of like somebody, like, yeah, there's like characters, but I know they're not like our protagonists. You can just tell, like, you know, it's like an old dude and
Nephris scientist.
yeah. So I mean, like, you're just sort of like, it's kind of like looking at a picture of a world instead of like caring about the world, because you're just like, oh yeah, that's nice, but like the character like draws you in and like makes you care about the world and what's going on in it.
Yeah. Okay, I will. If you get that far, let me tell you the action sequences before the introduction of the girls. Yeah, I'll start reading turbo mode.
Oh yeah.
Just so we can get there, because I want to try to do it since you're actually watching live.
It's pretty well written, like
it's like that's the thing. You're a phenomenal writer, and I think that's the challenge. Is you've done such great work with your world and the situation that you're almost. And it's the comfortable thing, right? It's harder to build characters than it is worlds, and it's harder to communicate that. And the Doctor's pretty well communicated, but creating that story first is going to be huge. And I think just from what I'm reading so far, I do believe you have a lot of fat you probably can cut early in the narrative, like the father-son scene. I don't know if that's necessary. It may factor in later, and if it does, okay. But then remember, every single page early in your draft is so critical, is so crucial that you may even want to pull whatever it relates to later out. Because you have a long screenplay already, and just look for more efficient ways to create those same character dynamics. Yeah. Introduce before the action. Yeah, but then you also want action and introduction, right? So the reason the hook is critical in stories is because it hooks you into the story. So, like, you still want to have conflict in every scene. You still want to have... Oh, there's my kbps dropped. It's all good. You still want to have conflict in every scene. You still want to have those those gripping elements, and that's just the tough part. But you're also telling a story and developing these characters while you're doing it. So look for ways to combine. Look for ways to combine would be my very strong admonition at this point in the narrative. Because you have a lot of great stuff, but yeah, cool. Looks okay. It looks bad from the damage. It's incredible. Absolutely, Jacob Deere. Their light shines a circular stone surrounding its perimeter. 5 inscriptions, different languages. Egypt, linear A, linear B. It's a translation for linear A. Language is that? Nothing I've ever seen. I'm not sure. I didn't recognize. Looks like real work is going on here, but where is the bar?
Where is this?
Looks like
Real work is going on here. Where's the bar?
The
bar for...
I don't know.
Like the alcohol bar?
The bar? I need to get a bar, yeah. It's the best part of screenwriting is you can do it while with a few drinks as well.
Well, I have some $2 chuck if you want.
$2 chuck? Yeah. Nice, thank you. I'm not sure. I don't recognize it. What does it say? Formless he was within this temple, yet he was formed in the image of men. It is a passage of the dweller of Unthal, one of the emerald tablets of Thoth. Maybe it's a curse. It's a revelation. Let's get this open. Yes, combine. Yeah. Yes. Jacob pulls. A strong wind blows as the inner chamber unsealed. Dust kicks into the air and swirls all around them. Jacob shields his eyes, but Dr. Nero stands awestruck. What is this wind? A green luminescence shines into the dust-filled wind. The unearthly vapor swirls around Nemo's body. As he breathes, the vapor pours into him. He inhales it. It's just the air. Dr. Nero falls to one knee. His face becomes flush. The remaining green mist enter his body, and Jacob turns back.
Depressurizing.
He falls to the floor and shakes violently. Doctor! Jacob scrambles over to him. His eyes roll back in his head, and he shakes uncontrollably as his body seizes. No! No! Jacob turns to his side as foam and vomit spit from his mouth. She's a great actress. Jacob performs CPR. Ew! That's disgusting.
No.
Foam vomit guy.
Yeah.
Please, not like this.
You don't need to do mouth to mouth if you have a... Well, they probably don't have that.
Not like this. Not like this. Nero coughs violently, but as opens his eyes again, green shimmer glows between his chestnut pupils. Nero sits up and wipes his mouth clean in his strange big expression. Oh God, I thought I lost you there, Doctor. A second, Dr. Nero, are you alright? Dr. Nero's eyes. It's a little bit long dialogue. Usually when it's like panicked dialogue, you're not going to go over one line. But that's just like page 12.
I am alive!
Thunder strikes. Kroom! Tanker in the ocean, morning. crisp, stylish Falcon Industries uniform 6 months later. Oof.
Yeah,
that's a lot of jumps. Oof. I
would put the girl before that.
I mean, I'm ruthless when it comes to cuts. And an 135-page screenplay, I would make your doctor getting taken over by the evil demon your first scene. Yeah. That's the first scene, and that's not even my recommended first scene because you don't want to flash forward unless you absolutely have to. If you can, start with the protagonists at the beginning of the story when the monster is just about to like go YOLO. Like, I know you have a lot to set up and you've done an amazing job of world building, which it sucks to have to like eviscerate all that. But like another flash somewhere. But
that's like 3 big jumps before we've even met the protagonist.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I could do with a drink. Yeah, me too. Goodness gracious.
I got cheap wine.
Well, we're going to a little event tonight later, so.
Pharmacy school prom.
But yeah, pharmacy school prom.
That's what it is.
That's nice. But yeah, my big admonition to you is be critical. And you, like, cause I do the same thing when she edits my work, and she's like, Jeff, why the heck do you have this scene about some freaking thing? Is it really necessary? And then I'm like, but it kind of factors in because you at least need to see the Silent Man once before because it doesn't make any sense if you don't. And then she's like, just get to the story, Jeff. And she's absolutely right. And I have to hold myself accountable to get to the story as well because
there's always like reasons. It's always like, well, but like that ties into like why he's doing it or like what is really behind his reasoning. But it's like you can do that without like doing a whole scene.
You can usually like trim that and make it a line of dialogue or some sort of smaller setup.
That's like the trick of writing is to like find ways if it's too long, you need to cut stuff. It's not like good for the plot. Like find something.
Yeah. But even then, Majin Buu, I would almost say that the 6 months jump is okay. Could be removed entirely. Okay. So I would say that time jump, hey, maybe that's okay. But I think you're still shifting around from characters. You're still shifting around between a lot of scenes. Like, my very strong encouragement, and that's just maybe it's my style of writing. What I would just be. I would do one rewrite of this, just for an exercise for you, and I would hey, maybe this is the draft you could use forever, but I would cut everything except the core story, and I'm talking like lean it out to its very, very core skeleton, just for your own exercise, maybe.
So just like the girl,
and then
the girl and the story, and then
and then see what you can add back in. So. That's what I was doing today.
That's KSC.
It's an artifact from the scene reshuffling. Yeah. Oh no, that's okay.
Yeah.
But my challenge to you: try to make this a 90-page screenplay. You don't want to send it to anybody, just for your own exercise.
You save this one.
And you save this one. Make this a 90-page screenplay, and then go back and fill in a little bit. Up to 100, or maybe 110, but
He's brutal.
I know, and I'm doing this to my novel right now. I'm doing this to my novel, so I'm taking my own advice when I've done this exact same thing. But that would be my strong admonition, because for me as a reader, like I would say, I kind of want to keep reading, but I mean we also probably have to hurry because we got to go to your event pretty soon. But I didn't have the Tinker scene earlier. If I had that, if I had it at the midpoint shift. Yeah, so the tanker draws of doctors.
Yeah, so here we're still meeting more people that aren't the protagonists.
Meeting more people, yeah. I mean, we can just skim forward. Okay, hallway, 2 soldiers, assault rifles, explosions, communications room, upset officer, unauthorized ongoing communication, mayday, mayday. So again, if I don't know the characters, and I was just introduced them to a line before, it's really hard for your reader to relate to some horrible thing that's happening to them. I think it looks like, mayday, mayday is obviously bad. I would say try that exercise. It will be a little bit of a brutal, long exercise, But and also read Save the Cat, because it'll give you some tips about using note cards for scenes that help me combine. That's what I'm gonna do I can stream Twitch stream my novel edit, and you guys can see me making these sacrifices myself, so you can actually know that I'm like gnawing on my fingers trying to trim my novel down.
This is a lot longer right now.
Yeah, mine's 140,000 words, which is way too long. But you know, we are on page 17, and there's Sarah.
Yay!
Yay! But then she's, you know, not in conflict. It looks like I don't have to explain myself. I will. I'm sorry. Tell Amy that Mama loves her. Eve that Mama loves her. Yeah, I mean.
Eve must be the girl.
The daughter. Yeah. So yeah, just.
Yeah, there's just so much.
Be brutal. Midpoint shift, nice.
Yeah.
But I would just
cut more.
Try. You know, Final Boss Editing's advice is try for a 90 pager. See what you can do, because 130 is long, and I'm absolutely certain within my soul that there is a lot that can be cut and it won't damage the story.
Yeah.
So remember, yeah.
It's good.
It's good, and that's the problem. Like, I'm like, oh, I just want to actually, because I see that you're a good writer.
I really wanted to like get to the story, but we only read a certain amount.
Good. I mean, awesome writing, by the way. I mean, that's the thing. Like, all the characters were well done. Like, and world well thought out. Like, I mean, I think like this stuff is like, I want to see your awesome writing like in action, like not just setting up. Get through the setup at a sprint and make it and while you're in the setup, give conflict. Try for a 90-page version of this for practice. You always have the longer version saved on PDF forever.
It also might be good just to like really stand back and look and see what the skeleton of your story is.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can get lost in like the details of the background, and you'll realize when you actually look at it.
Note cards.
Like, oh, that actually is just background fluff.
Yeah, and that's what I'm actually doing for my novels. So I'm getting all these edits. It takes time until shit goes haywire. I know. This was 2 scripts. Oh, maybe that's why. Yeah, that's I just don't know this right. I'm being super accelerated. It takes time in the build-up. I mean, and you're right. Like, it's a tough choice with a slow build, but even in slow builds, you have to build anticipation. You have to build like suspense, mystery, and
put the protagonist early. Like, in the first scene, at least have like this little girl, like some sort of conflict and like mystery with her, and then like go to the story with the scientist and at least like have us know who she is and like know that she's out there. Because like up until then, it was sort of like, is there even a little girl in this story? Like,
is there someone to care about? Like, because like all those characters are pretty unlikable. So I'm watching people I don't like do nefarious bad things for 20 minutes. But I mean, I think. So what I'm gonna do to fix my novel, because I have the exact same problem, so don't worry, is I'm getting a bunch of people to edit it. I'm combining all those edits, and then I'm going back to a scene-by-scene note card. So I create a note card for every scene. Alright, the scene, the point of the scene, like what happens, the conflict, and the character change. So like if a character's fortunes go up or down. And then I'm going to remap it on a whiteboard. And this is, massive draft. And then I'm going to cut it by 30%. So 30% of those note cards will be gone. And you guys, and I'll probably stream some of it on Twitch, just so you guys can see at least my methodology. But I think it'll hopefully help. But great job!
Like, said it was two scripts, already condensed down to 130.
Which is awesome. So
yeah,
which is good. Like that's a big that's a big cut already. So that's congratulations on that. Yeah. But I'm excited. Let me see Earth 2.0.
I'm gonna get some
fade in from space. Yeah, I may get some water too. Might grab me a glass. Cool. From space, everything is a sea of shining stars. till a small speck grows in the size to reveal its beautiful striking blue. And that's one of the reasons I like editing Majin Buu is I see a lot of the things that I struggle with as a writer. And if you ever have never done an edit, like a development edit for someone, I would recommend it. Just it helps your writing a lot. Is everything I see in other people's work that's so clear. I usually find in my own, and I'm always blind to my own things sometimes, at least for me. So I always encourage other people to do that. So if you give us a follow, I will stream my note carding of my novel, and you guys can see me cry softly as I chop it to bits. Fade in from space. Everything is a sea of shining stars till a small speck grows in size to reveal its beautiful striking blue earth. A haunting female voice fills the air. Thank you. Ominous, creepy, demonic. Earth, in its beauty, is not prepared. I need an ominous, creepy woman voice. I guess, is this the voice speaking? Oh, man. Use dialogue tags, guys. Okay. Page 1. This is the same thing. Avoid cover art. Page 1. If something is speaking, give it a dialogue tag. Even disembodied voices. Yeah, her cat is hungry. Ragey hungry. Hangry.
Like, Mom, the meatloaf!
Mom, the meatloaf! F words!
The meatloaf!
Meatloaf, Mom! The earth in its beauty is not prepared for the vast creeping darkness that begins to cover its beauty. A wormhole appears in the distance, swallowing the stars of space. Exterior Manhattan Beach. 7/15/17. You don't need to give exact dates. Yeah, I put them on the thing for you.
Thank you.
So for scene times, don't need to give exact dates for in slugline. Hard to show in film. So unless they do another super, it's going to be really hard to actually see Manhattan Beach 7/15 and 6/17. It'll be a bit jarring.
Wait, so where's the voice?
So there is some space voice that's like Earth is not prepared for the darkness that's coming. And then a wormhole appears, swallowing the stars of space.
That's what she says?
No, that's what happens. And that's why you need dialogue text, because I don't know. But that's what I'm assuming. A man walks along an empty beach. He kneels down and draws a diagram in the sand. His all-black attire matches the darkness in his eyes as he looks to the heaven. Decrocia, 30. Walks towards the groups of four-headed men. I guess he bolded his characters too. He's also bolding some weird stuff. These four men will be known as the Immortals. A group of four-headed men who each hold a metal codex tablet. Passing behind them, he whispers, "The hour draws nigh. These four men will be known as the Immortals." If you can, avoid talking directly to the reader. Just say the four immortals stand, do. You don't have to say, these are the four immortals, or I will continue to call them the four immortals. Which seems a bit jarring. Okay. Passing behind them all, he whispers, "Venusian, the hour draws nigh." Okay. Dionysius, a.k.a. Evan Graham. Porthos, Sensei, a.k.a. British Jakes. Saint Ignatius, a.k.a. Gus Lahai. You gotta show this. So just imagine I'm watching a movie. I will not be able to know the individual productions are really difficult to envision as being clearly expressed.
Unless it's super.
on scene unless you do super.
But don't you have to introduce them anyways? Like,
Yeah, I guess. I don't think you need to though. Like the more you name people, like the more it just steals from their mystery.
like would you just give their like little?
I would just give their age, but I would do it like. I mean, I guess he kind of does, but it's weird. Yeah, group chant German. Darkness, darkness, rain on us. Like a huge sound of falling. I would probably rethink that one. Darkness seems a bit cliche. Maybe it's just the way I'm reading it, though. I'm trying to sound like a crazed acolyte.
Darkness. It's not good. I'm sorry to say.
Scripty, bizarre. I think, usually when you're doing an edit, the way I think about it is you're trying to find the things that are good and just show, because there's always elements, because there's no script that's completely bad and there's no script that's completely good. And there's always elements in great scripts that rock, and there's always elements in scripts that may not have as much, be well developed, that have these like sparks of insight. And like that's what you're trying to kind of piece out, is to say, okay, we have this dark cloud that's coming to Earth, all this stuff. Hey, Gandalf. We have this dark cloud that's coming to Earth, all these like horrible, foreboding things. Gandalf. Give me your hand. No. You put those days behind you. It's your backstory. We're gonna have a 20-minute scene on it. So just something to consider. So it's finding those good things, and that's where hopefully you can help the writer, keep working through it. Voice ominous. Look to me. An earthquake surges through the ground, shattering buildings behind them. Dacosia, seeing his work done, walks away from this group. Screams can be heard. Really punchy lines. The punchy lines don't communicate much scene. And just like seem a bit forced. Like it seems like you're trying to like force like this crazy stuff to happen. Screams can be heard in the distance from the city's people who are terrified. Group watches the ocean. Bam, bam, bam. Bullets start to hit the ground. Then the group runs in different directions. Building continues. The gunfire comes from this group of men. They will be known as the Haitians. The 5 militant men lead under the leadership of Dr. X. The others are Soldier Boy, Slim Jim, Little Spider, Sub Soaker, Super Soaker, and Cassius.
Soldier Boy,
Soldier
really?
Boy!
Soldier Boy, no, watch me crazy, watch me run, watch me. I don't remember.
She's a good
I used to
dancer.
sing that when I studied abroad in France. I had to dance.
Superman!
I had a little dance. Superman, no. Soldier Boy.
Lots of characters. Beware. This is something writers should be terrified of, because it will slaughter your script. It will make it really hard to follow.
Yeah, like don't give them all names if they're not going to be main characters.
Lots of named characters.
Yes.
Yeah. And then I'll put it long mesh.
If they're just going to be like random people running around, I don't need to know Slim Jim versus Little Spider.
And this is something that even, and this is why I like editing other people's work, because it, one is hopefully helps the writer, but then two, it informs my own script, because, right, like, I think Evolution's Eye, for example, had a lot of characters. They handled it pretty well, like, it wasn't as exaggerated as this, but this is, like, it's good to see the extremes and to say, oh, hey, if you introduce legitimately 12 characters, almost 12 characters in 2 pages, your reader will not have a clue on who to follow. It will seem really disjointed. We're looking for one person. We're looking for one person as the reader, and you have to deliver that. Unless you are... It's just like every character you add, it's an exponent. It's an exponent of how much harder that screenplay is going to be to write. That's why you see, like, really strong writers can handle multiple characters, but they are using so many techniques, they are being so careful, and it still is hard. So you can pull it off. It's physically possible, but you are incurring a level of difficulty that is exponents harder every time you add a character, especially if you're going to follow it. Manhattan Beach continuous. The hooded men all try to avoid being hit. Bing, bing, chink. It's just like the attack on Normandy Beach in D-Day. So this seems like action for action's sake. So there's nobody I really care about yet, because they've just been introduced in a flash, and I just see bad things happening. So action for actions.
I'm not sure about that line. It's just like the attack on Normandy Beach on D-Day.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that.
It's also show don't tell, right? Because like, how is it like Normandy? Show us.
I guess they're on a beach, but
that makes us say.
Yeah.
It's like
I want to be
Normandy.
told what it's like. I want to decide.
Yeah, so I mean that's the thing. The reader, she's absolutely right. That's exactly what all your readers are thinking. He left out little dice. He's cutting up soon. He shoots daggers from his eyes.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet. Hey, what's up, Skittles?
Oh yes, we're on a different script now, Richie.
We are on a different script.
Yes, we finished the other one. We kind of do two.
We do, yeah, we do two. So we read the 5 log lines on Scriptshadow, and I'll type that in. So we read 5 log lines on their amateur offering. We pick 2 to read, and then out of those 2, we pick 1 victor.
Yeah, we do like roughly 10 pages of each.
Yeah, and I will say that it's looking pretty good for Evolution's Eve, which is okay. I mean, it's those. Yeah, I mean, it's just tough. Like, especially if you're on your first or second script, introducing over 2 characters in the first 5 pages is just more than an average person on their second script's skill set can handle, quite literally. So you're just giving yourself a really hard problem to solve. It's like doing like freaking applied, like, you know, math when you're like barely learning addition. Like, hope that's not like a bad way. I don't know what's going on with my phone right now. I don't know. It's probably just salespeople have been getting my numbers lately.
You can check it if you want.
I mean, we'll probably crank through this. The lines are very spaced out, so it's moving fast. Yeah. The words leave their mouth, and as the men can see, I'm afraid it's time to go. The scepters and tables will soon be ours. The words leave the mouth. The men see that tsunami is formed and is headed their way. I'm just going to look at the messages to make sure that nothing crazy is happening. Yeah. Just to make sure that everyone is cool. Oh, we're heading to the symphony. Love you. Okay, thanks, Mom and Dad. No, they're in El Paso. They're just hanging out and having fun. I just give you the play-by-play. It's good. I want to give him a call. I was going to give him a call a while back.
Did you edit short stories too?
Yeah.
He'll edit the hell out of shorts and chapters.
Yeah.
Yep. Anything.
Yep. As long as you don't mind him being on Twitch and talking through them, but I think that's like the fun part. It's fun to kind of have that dialogue because it's good. Like, I so sympathize with Majin Buu being like, no, but it needs to be there. It's part of this world I've created. I'm like, I get it. I give myself the exact same excuses when I, sometimes do get a little bit too verbose in some of my writing, which she can relate. Was some of the stuff early in my novel necessary?
I do. No,
it wasn't. No. Yeah, it's not.
I did the same thing.
But I tell myself it is, which is why I write it.
Backstory for the story I'm writing, and I'm like, I gotta get rid of it all. I get like none of it's.
The heart of the story is what matters.
And I'm like, oh, but like that shows like why? And I'm like, no, nobody cares.
So remember, the only thing the reader wants to see is the most life-changing, crazy moment of this character's life, which is what your story is. If you're telling anything other than the most life-changing moment of their life,
even if
why do we care?
There's always things you can add that lead up to that moment. Like, of course, like if you know the characters well, you're really tempted to be like, oh, but like I should show what they used to be like and how they got there and why this is important to them. It's like, no, just show me what happens and I'll figure it out.
Show me.
Like, show me the character through how they react to this problem or this big thing happening, and that will show. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a question.
Yeah.
Isaac Johnson, aka the Patriot, is putting the final things he needs in his backstory today. wrecking ball of a man. That's a nice description. So I mean, that's the thing. Like you see, like even if the screenplay's structure maybe has some risks, like you see these like sparks. I'm like, that's like a really good description. Like that's awesome. Image evoking. If you ask his name at the bar, I'd probably smell and walk away. A little bit too much there.
Yeah.
But the TV is on the background as it rolls with coverage of them today. People are being interviewed. We all heard it. I mean, my God, what does that mean? This is why we need the guns back. We ain't safe no more. The band must end.
This voice is a terrifying turn in a series of escalating events in our recent history. In the last year and a half,
the screen shows the following events since 2016. Deadly Ebola spray. Missing airliners. Ice caps melted at accelerated rates.
I wonder when it's all going to end. Hold on. We are receiving this now.
The screen shows images courtesy of NASA.
According to NASA, they have just confirmed to us that 3 of our planets in our solar system have gone missing. Possibly due to a brand new wormhole that is just coming to light at this hour. Wait, that seems like out of nowhere.
Yeah. This is also a very telling description, right? This is an exposition, which is crazy because you're putting in all this action, but because it's fluff action, or it's it's action that doesn't have like this kind of pushing purpose behind it, it feels just like core exposition. This feels very exposition heavy early. The thing I would think about also is, if you can, as you make the story more personal and around one character, the newscasters sometimes kind of killed your credibility a little bit, or at least it like makes it feel less personal. So like stuff like E.T., for example, you never see, it's a freaking alien, but you never see like the news come in and all this stuff happen, right? Like it's a very personal, it's a secret this boy's hiding from the world. So it has that extra element of like, it's more of an enclosed like pressure cooker. Mm-hmm. Whenever you bring in the news, you're popping out one of like the bands in your pressure cooker because everybody knows about it. Maybe somebody else will solve the problem, like, and like all that steam is losing because now the whole world is going to solve the problem or try to. So the more you can make it, and maybe this story that just doesn't work, and it doesn't work for every story. But getting those like big newscasters, stuff like that. Remember, you're just popping a band on that pressure cooker whenever that happens. Finishes his bag. Turns to Sophia Johnson. So this is much more normal writing, so this is nice. That early stuff was pretty intense. So I would really, really fix those first... Yeah. Finishes packing his bag. Isaac shows awards and medals for various accomplishments, such as motorcycling and military service. I'll just write that down because he should know. Page 4. Writing... much more what I'd expect. Can this be more consistent? Isaac's wall shows awards and medals for various accomplishments, such as motorcycling and military service. A Ronald McDonald doll holds a I Love Science sign. He finishes packing his bag. Isaac turns to find Sophia Johnson standing in the doorway watching him. Well, the only way you fix it is by writing more and more. Oh, there's some stuff. Twitchy anthology. I'd prefer if you get someone else's design. Richie, and definitely it's not against the rules. We're getting extra. Wait, what's against the rules? Because of the blizzard. Extra viewers.
Oh yeah.
Oh well, I think he's supposed to write an anthology story too, though. Yeah, I know. Well, I do have one that's longer that I did write on Twitch, and I have the videos to prove it. About a startup murder mystery. So it's about 7,000 words. So if that fits the bill. I forget what the exact number was, but if a 6,000 to 7,000 word, you shall smoke grass. Curse you, Gandalf the Green. I shall resist. But yeah, so if I do have a startup murder mystery that was written on Twitch. So if that counts, let me know and I'll send that over.
What's the?
So a lot of the people who write on Twitch are writing it, putting an anthology together.
Oh, they are?
Sending it out, yeah.
What?
So yeah, it should be fun. Hard being a novice, but it's the only way you stop being a novice is read a lot about on writing and write a lot and read a lot of books. So I would really encourage everybody who likes writing read some books on structure. Read Save the Cat. Read The Writer's Journey. Read some books on writing style. Like, because you can get those insights by reading fiction, but it's really, really nice to have someone distill it and package it for you a little bit. So when you go back and read fiction again, you have this context. You can start fitting these things you learn from reading other people's fiction in. I would say if you want to pursue writing in a serious way, read books on writing. There's so much great stuff out there. You'd be really shooting yourself in the foot not to. Or you can just have some Gandalf the Green. Don't go, I'm scared. He continues moving out at this pace. Look, let's talk, I know.
That's me.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Look, let's talk. I know.
Well, the world is going to moot. I got a job to do.
Getting this lost isn't going to bring him back. Getting it lost.
Woo! Don't go, I'm scared. Look, let's talk. I've got a job to do. Getting this lost isn't going to bring him back. Unclear.
He said it, remember?
Yeah, I know. He was saying that he's going to shoot daggers. It's true. Peach, go. Stick in my head. I would... Dialogue seems a bit unclear. And it's okay in early drafts to kind of have this like hinting dialogue, like, don't go, I need you. Don't, just let it go, Bill, let it go. But like, he's like, no, I can't.
Bring him back.
It's my job. Like those types of moments are tempting, and you can use them, but they're also cliches. So if you're going to be going into that realm of a very commonly seen dialogue exchange, be sure you have a damn good reason to do it. I don't know if that's happening. Isaac, like an animal, shoots daggers with his eyes. He shoots up. He grabs his keys. He sees Sophia's passport on the table. Vacation time. He walks out to the door. Sophia's face hangs in disappointment. First spacing for his scene headings. Yeah, it looks like, yeah. A lot of this could be combined. Like, I don't think you have to space out every sentence. Page 4. No need to have a space between every sentence. Just ideas or flows of action.
I'm reading ahead.
Give me your hand. I'm sure if someone read my old drafts, it would be just as silly sometimes too. So, it's a lot of. It takes a lot of guts. I know. It takes a lot of guts to put your work out there. It takes a lot of guts to put your work out there. So, don't go, Jack. I need you. Yeah. And you see, so even the professionals do weird, like from Titanic.
Oh yeah.
Do stuff like that.
I'll never let go, Jack.
I'll never let go. But one of the things that he did to make it unique was letting go of the door. It's like, don't let go. Like, they're taking scene elements to make those more cliche moments pop. But it's hard. Sophia looks in the window and she catches Isaac changing his clothes. He knows she's up to something. Oh, so it's the same. So they're back? Continuous. Oh. Isaac walks through the place dressed in black leather attire. He kind of seems like he's up to something. He looks like he's gotten off his crotch rocket?
That's the line I was looking at. That's why I was like, oh, I just read ahead.
That's a motorbike. It's a motorbike. Crotch rocket's like a bike.
Motorcycle.
Yeah, I would definitely word choice seems. Yeah.
That's the only thing I was going like, what? Yeah. About.
I could see why you would get the giggles, but I'm just kidding. Fine.
That's necessary.
Just say motorbike.
And what do you mean he looks like he just got off his motorbike? Like.
Well, because he's wearing leathers, right?
Oh, I guess so, yeah.
Super Black Town, and then now we have a super. Curse those supers. I'm not a super fan, to be honest.
You're a super loser. You heard me.
Better not. There's about to be some conflict in this scene right now. Just kidding. Head back right this way, monster. Monsieur. Isaac follows him deep into the vault. I will now need your corpse. Isaac, studying the man, removes his wedding ring. He places it into a reader in the wall where a keypad is revealed. Isaac puts his key code. The wall opens up, revealing a small room. I will leave you to your bidding. Thank you. And the evil German banker, I guess. Room continuous. Isaac looks back and makes sure he's gone over to one of the boxes. He opens it and removes a small flash drive. Isaac loads up his bag and puts on the laptop. He loads it and waits for the footage. What loads up? Loads. So beware of repeated words because it jars the reader. P5.6 toward the end. 5.8. Loads is repeated. Jarring to reader. The doctor, this is Dr. Harold Graham. This is a case study. A41. The date is December 25th, 2011. Time 3 a.m. I'm joined by my associates here. This will be marked as Project Cinco Med. We're hoping to break new ground in the area of religious belief. I am very confused.
Yeah.
Where did Dr. Graham come from?
Who's Dr. Graham? Oh, he's on the. It's the footage that he loaded off.
Oh, the footage he loaded off a flash drive. The image becomes available in these men. Yeah, it's interesting. So much of the science stuff we see is like some scientists like going too far.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's almost like a. I mean, I'm sure there's a fresh way you can do that, but I would be really wary because you're using a very common theme, common story of science too far, and not much difference in expected execution. This is exactly how I expect that to go. A scientist for this story to play out. So I mean, you're kind of delivering exactly the beats that the readers expect. So there's not much surprising, and it's on a storyline that kind of is already a risk of cliches because it's been done so much. Shut up, but Jack. By my mark, 3, 2, 1. Protect is under control. Stop it. Not now, Simon. I think we've gone too far. Exactly what I said.
I must keep going for the sake of all mankind.
The alarm sounds off.
Oh my God.
Sparks start to fly and smoke spills the room. An outline of the side of a being begins to emerge through the blinding whiteness of pure electricity.
Earthquake.
Everything begins to shake. That's another example, and this is more specific, of if you say something like, you don't need to say earthquake if the earth is shaking already. Let's just trim, I mean, you're going to want to eventually lean this out to be really efficient, and those types of double saying like the same thing will create definitely an impact. Wow, the whole crew. Okay. Oh my, if this ever gets out. Everything begins to shake.
The smoke begin to vanish.
Science and the smoke beginning to vanish.
Oh my. If this gets out, things will never be as we once knew it.
This is like, Dr. Harold, don't state the obvious.
Yeah.
So we kind of expect that to happen. So you don't need to necessarily say it. Isaac puts his obsessed eyes away and closes his laptop. He places his obsessed eyes. Be careful with those adjectives if they don't match to the verbs. Those adjectives to the nouns. Sorry. That's an adverb. I'm dumb. Place the drive away inside. Writes in the computer notepad. Could it be real? You can't represent this on the screen. You cannot represent this on the screen. So really cut out anything that you can't represent visually. Cut out anything you can't represent visually already. Cinco Med. Does this have any connection to the day? This must all be disproved once and for all. God, it's a superstition.
Wait.
I think this is his internal dialogue, which you should never ever have.
He's writing.
Oh, he's writing on a notepad.
What? No.
No. Don't do this. Don't write this.
Please do not.
Notepads either. show by how he behaves and creates conflict with other characters. And this is actually one of the things, like, I would definitely, this is one of those ones where you get over a lot of these, like, kind of early writing issues by reading a lot of screenplays, and by reading some books on screenplays. So I would say, save the cat, read this. It's $10 on Amazon, and it will on Amazon. Because I mean, think of it this way: like, you writing 110 pages is going to take you at least 20, 30, 40 hours more, depending on how intense you are. So if reading a book for like 4 hours will make that 20, 30, 40, 50 hours become higher return rate, read the book. God is a superstition. He moved to the wall. Okay. Once it's read, it opens and reveals all the work of the last 2 years. It's a demonologist, someone who studies demons. He studies different cases. I would also trust the reader. So the fact that you're overstating all this stuff.
One is read for emergencies. Demonologist, someone who studies demons.
Yeah, so trust your reader. Overstating stuff like this will usually hurt the read a lot. Opens it and reads your order. 1948 challenge drive, ETA 1 hour. Grabs, okay, cyberspace warehouse. Imagine the secret lab to Apple HQ.
Wait, what is this cyber warehouse?
Cyber warehouse. It's like
There's
Apple's
a hard
magical
drive.
secret hard drive. The neon blue reflects everywhere as Isaac moves through the noir shadows. Slowly, he moves. A silencer and places on his gun. Rounding a corner, an employer runs to him. Man looks at him and steps back in fear. Isaac lunges in place in the hands over his mouth. And he turns the man around and moves forward as his human shield. That escalated quickly.
Yeah.
How did it get from, like, ETA 1 hour? So he flew to this lab. Red light turns on, red voice is green.
You flew there? Wait, that was the 1 hour?
Yeah, I'm starting to skim. So beware, whenever the reader starts skimming your screenplay, it means that you want to have more clarity. So the problem is you have a lot of conflict, but you need to make sure it's explained. So don't have conflict, because YOLO. Have a goal for the character and make it clear. And also, all this stuff is undercutting the fact that there's like some horrific alien invasion that's about to obliterate the planet. And this guy's like off, like beating the crap out of Apple employees. Like, what the heck? Like, it seems like a bit out of place.
I already kind of forgot who he is, too.
He's a tough guy.
Was
Red
he there
closes
when
eyes
the
and
alien showed up?
No, yeah, I don't think so. Female guard pointed a gun at the back of his head, 2 darts right into her neck and chest. Without time to react, she's left stunned as Eric rushes to the ground. Weapons, movement. But his mission is not over yet. What is his mission? We don't know. It wasn't shown. Isaac puts his 2 IMO, which is Apple's next great invention. It is where digitally 3D imagery pops up. It's patented, so get your sticky fingers. What?
Hey, motherfucker, yo. What?
Which is Apple's next great invention. It's where digitally and 3D imagery pops up above the transmitting signal that springs from a watch.
It's just patented, so get your sticky fingers off my shit. I am roasting some motherfucker, yo. What?
But don't interject as the author to be funny. Tell us a story. You just want to be true to your form. Like, this is a screenplay, it's storytelling. We're trying to go through characters. Whenever you jump something else in, it just throws it off. Image shows icy clay figure until he finds what he's looking for. Gold light. He makes his way towards it. A voice from the moments. Isaac readjusts his eyes. His wife. How do we know it's his wife? Be sure that we've set up. I guess that Susan Chick was his wife. Eyes are calm. Okay, well, this is probably going to be a page 10. We're going to call it on page 10.
Yeah.
So, I think my vote, so let's do our good and our bad.
Yeah.
So good. Lots of action. But be sure give it a point. Epic setup. Story will be big. Prove. Don't be true to your form. This is a screenplay, not a novel. Don't. Everything must be represented visually, or it must be cut. Trim down intro. Doesn't seem to relate to rest of story, and there are tons of characters.
Yeah, I mean, whatever happened to Soldier Boy?
Yeah, what happened to
really
Soldier
rooting
Boy?
for him.
Call Superman. Daggers, man. Daggers.
I was really rooting for Slim Jim and Soldier Boy and Dionysius.
Yeah.
What happened to them? We
all
learned all
these
about
cool
them.
guys. Slim Jim.
Dr. X.
But then it was just some, and then Isaac just ended up breaking into Apple. I'm gonna also, yeah. Outline your story. Outline your story. Do it. Make sure there's a single whole through line that every scene contributes to. And then, yeah, dialogue needs work. Well, I think our vote is kind of self-evident. I'm going to say Evolution's I.
Eve.
I.
I don't like you.
Last time I checked, your keyboard is so loud. Yeah, I know. I have to get an external mic at some point. I usually have one for when I edit at my house, but whenever I'm editing it at the at my manager's house, I have to use my computer thing. It's very powerful. The rumble of dragons.
Yes. Daggers.
Daggers, man.
shooting.
Daggers. Laser daggers. Shooting daggers. Well, my vote is to Evolution's Eve. I'm going to put this up on Scriptshadow. Great job, guys. Great writing. You know, ASMR.
What's that?
I like the keyboard sounds.
What's ASMR?
I don't know. I'm going to Google it right now. I hope it's something horrible. And I'm like, oh, God. And now it's in a sensory meridian response. I don't know. I don't even know what that means. Characterized by distinct pleasurable tingling. Ooh, in the head, scalp. So it gives you happy chills? I can keep typing. I can just go. Oh, yeah, guys.
You like that?
You guys like that? It's all for you. The true entertainment of Final Boss editing. So you get all these, all the people really just come for the keyboard.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, the stories are great and all, but the keyboard, can't get enough. Well, anyways, guys, I'll post up the vote on Scriptshadow. Good luck. I hope you guys get a great review, and I'm excited to see your next draft. I would really encourage.
Send it.
It'd be Eve if I had the little girl here because her name is Eve. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It's true.
He also claims he has perfect vision.
I have perfect vision.
Yeah. His eye. Evolution's eye.
But my eyes are actually perfect, but it's the journey from my eyes to whatever my brain does that everything gets all jacked up. But yeah, great job. You definitely did earn the vote. I think you have really strong writing, and I think that's probably one of your biggest challenges, right? Is because you're a great writer, you're good at telling stories, but you have to, cut a lot of that fat to get to your story. It's like the scenes you developed were great sequences, but a sequence does not a story make. So get to your story, get to your characters, and to the real root of what you're doing. Anyways, guys, keep it real. Another one bites the dust for Final Boss editing.
Bye, guys.
Take care.